I did go ahead and carefully separate the cells. So that's all we've got. Got a couple of bits of foam packaging there to keep the cells apart, or the contacts apart. So, as I say, I can desolder them and see if we can do anything with the individual cells. Separated to their 3 component parts. The question is, do I try and recover that one, which is the one that's right down to 1 point something volts, which you shouldn't be able to recover. That's the one that's completely dead, and that's the one that appears to be okay. So I could either desolder the leads off that one and put an ordinary small size JST connector on there, because I really don't need a great big, I've forgotten what connector that one is. Is it written on there? Oh yeah, XT60. Really don't need a big lead like that if it's just going to be a single cell. But if I could recover that one, then I could solder that one onto there, and I could have a 2S. Not sure if you can see what I've done here. I've put a temporary lead onto the 2 terminals on the battery that was low, not the dead one, but the low cell, and I've got that coming up quite nicely. So if we can get that one recovered, then I might put the 2 together and have a 2S LiPo. We'll see. If it keeps coming up, we'll see. If it doesn't, then I'll just have a 1S LiPo. In my kitchen now, on the kitchen stove, just in case things go wrong, I'm just going to continue charging this cell that's gone a little bit puffy. We're up to 4.01. I did have an absolute panic just now because I plugged it all in. Straight away the alarm said disconnection problem or something like that. I can't remember what the actual words were. And those wires were getting hot. And what it was, this multiple adapter on here, that connector, which I've no idea what it's for, I've never used it, had dropped down onto the metal surface there, and it was a straight short across those 2 terminals. So I thought there was something totally wrong somewhere, and it was all going to overheat. Well, it was going to overheat, but it wasn't anything to do with the charger, and it wasn't anything to do with the battery. It was this adapter lead with those 2 bare terminals on it. So what I'm going to do now is cover those over with some sort of rubber or something, so that can't happen again. I've had this for a few years and I've never had that problem before, but then I've probably never put it up on the cooker hob here, which is steel or something. So I just thought I'd mention that. So what's this? A Turnigy B6 Pro, so good few years old now. Regularly use this adapter lead, but I've obviously never let that drop straight onto a metal surface and short itself out. Well, it's taken a full charge. Not sure whether that's puffed up any more than it was this morning first thing. It might be a tiny bit. So I really don't think I'm going to use it for a 2S. So I'll use it, even though it's a little bit puffy, just to see what does happen to it, but I'll have to be extra careful with it. Right, what we have here now is two 1S LiPo batteries. I decided not to risk making it a 2S, so I've now got a spare XT60 lead. The reason I'm not making it a 2S is this one has gone a little bit puffy, just a tiny little bit. I charged it up last night, partly, and then switched it off overnight because I didn't want to leave it charging when I was asleep. And then when I came down in the morning, it had just very slightly lifted the surface of the wrapping. But just to find out, I carried on charging it, so that's now fully charged, 4.2 volts, and I've tested it and it works, but it's one of those ones I'm going to have to keep in a separate bag and keep an eye on. Most people would say throw it away, but I'm going to keep hold of it. The other one, the one that was okay from the measurements, that's the one that has just finished charging. So it's taken a full charge. So that one is probably okay. So rather than throw away a 3S LiPo battery, I've got at least one good 1S LiPo out of it and one questionable one, and then the dead one is going to have to go out in my store of dead batteries outside. That's another one that's a bit questionable. That's a puffy 2S, but it's been puffy for about a year now. So that's one I keep an eye on, and I like to keep using just in case it will do something silly and make a good video. But so far, every time I've used it, it's survived, it's worked okay. So another one that I keep an eye on.
Hey, thanks for watching. There's plenty of videos on my main channel with more added daily, so don't forget to subscribe and enable the notifications to keep you up to date with my new releases. You can help keep my channel running by donating $1 on Patreon to buy me coffee. You can always find more information in the video description. Thanks again for watching.